Welcome back to the show. There's been a topic in toys that I've been thinking about for 4 years now ish, since Christmas 2015. Whenever The Force Awakens came out, time is a wee bit wibbly and wobbly, to be honest, if I'm entirely honest with you. But since then, I haven't really enjoyed Star Wars toys all that much. As a youth, I grew up with Star Wars toys. I believe the first ones I was introduced to were the Buff figures from the 90s. I think it was it before it was probably around the time of the special editions coming out, and they had those like super buff like Luke Skywalker, and like, was there a buff Obi-Wan? Probably not, but there was definitely a buff Luke in that, and that was kind of the prevailing style at the time, given that it was the 90s. And I like those toys. I like those toys. They weren't my favorite Star Wars toys. We'll get to that in a second. But I guess I bring them up because I like them, but I don't have like overriding nostalgia for them. Like, it would be nice, I guess, if there was like a wee weird line of Star Wars toys out there now that had ridiculously ripped. Like, give us a Ray that's like super ripped. That would be great. But I don't have like a need for that. And I enjoyed most of the prequel toys, to be fair. I should lay my cards on the table. I think the prequels are basically fine. Bad films, yes, but like fun and, well, fun's a relative word, isn't it? I was young when they came out, so I love them. I can see their quite big flaws, but at the same time, it's a vibe. But yeah, I'm rambling now. The toys are the thing. You'll see on the thumbnail, the toys. Oh, I've dropped his wee thing. Oh, it's over there. Yeah, Star Wars toys, since the new trilogy, the Disney Star Wars films have come out, have not really piqued my interest. And it's a very simple flaw that they have, in my opinion. A very simple kind of thing that's wrong with them, and that is they don't have that much articulation. And like, this has probably been done to death on YouTube. I meant to do some research, but I thought I'd just go with my like verbal flow. Look at him; he is quite lovely. The sculpt is very nice. It's a very nice sculpt. The paintwork, what there is of it, very nice. You can't really fault that. It's just that he only moves at the shoulders, so he's got a shoulder move, both arms. I shouldn't have done both arms, but here we are. And his legs move. And to be very fair, this lad, whatever he's called, I don't really remember the names of most of the new characters. His head is very expressive. That is very nice. He works. He is a pass. I mean, the only reason I have him is because he was in Poundland, and I bought him for around about £1 because we live in the dystopian nightmare now where Poundland is charging more than £1 for certain products. But the problem is that this guy, he works. He definitely works as he is. He's a very basic figure, but because of his image and because of his proportions and stuff, he works. Other fellows aren't so lucky because all the figures in this scale, in this line, only have that level of articulation. They only have like the arms that rotate and like that kind of a thing. And when that's the whole line, that's a problem. But it's kind of a problem that you can get away with because they did it for The Force Awakens, right? And dare I hesitate to say, I was into it back then. I was working in Toys R Us, and I got like to handle the toys minutes before they came out or whatever. It was like we have them the weekend before their launch. So I was like, oh, these are cool, and like I like the vibe because it 100%. It's a throwback to '77 or whatever because this is the articulation of the Star Wars figures, and this is what Star Wars figures are. Like, they're this scale and they're this level of articulation. And for The Force Awakens, I 1,000% get that. That's fine. You're allowed to do that. That's like, I mean, you're allowed to do anything you want with your toys, but like, it was a thing they went for. Like, and it's potentially pandering. to like the 77 audience to an absurd degree, but I get it. And at the time, I can't remember if I actually did, but I feel like I fully supported it because it was a specific vibe, and they kind of nailed it. The problem is that there's been like 4 Star Wars films since then, 3 or 4. Yeah, there's been Rogue One, Blood, Rogue One, The Last Jedi, and Solo. So there's been 3 films since then, 4 in total. I hope I'm not forgetting one. But there's been loads of films since then where the wee toy line that accompanies it is this. It's this again, over and over every year, forever, it seems. And I think that's a problem. I think that's something that needs to change. That's why I made this video, because I just don't get excited by it. I feel like, because I'm not going to get excited by every Star Wars toy that comes out. If they'd changed it and if they'd made all of their toys, have the same articulation that was better, if they added more articulation to their toys, is what I'm getting at. I wouldn't be excited for every Star Wars toy that came out, but I would be more excited. I'd be more inclined to like wonder, like, oh, like that's a cool droid or that's a cool alien. Maybe I'll get that at the scale. And I know there's a lot of things around this that kind of makes it a null issue for a lot of people, and that's fair play. I'm just kind of coming at you with my particular problems. Now, this being the mainline Star Wars toy isn't a problem for, I guess, most of the Star Wars fandom, I would say, because if you're into toys and if you're into Star Wars, these aren't going to be your number ones because the Black Series exists, and the Black Series is the more premium Star Wars toy. They're usually about £20-ish, 20-ish. I've seen them for like 25 or whatever when they first come out, and then the prices kind of vary after that. And I have not yet dipped my toe in the Black Series, and the Black Series existing is a twofold thing for me because it alleviates the problem of this, because you can look at this and say, this is just for kids. Why are you complaining about it? You can go get the Black Series. And that's 100% true. I can just go get the Black Series. So, like I say, the problem is slightly, is moderately kind of skewed by that, because you can just go get the Black Series. The problem there is I feel like you're kind of being charged more for something that you used to get at this scale for less. And yes, the Black Series figures are like a lot bigger. I forget what the actual scale is, but they're big chunky boys. They're tall. It's not necessarily what I want in an action figure. I love this little scale, and I know that's the other part of the problem, is that this scale of figure has kind of died, and that this is the last great torchbearer of the scale, which I'm not going to fault it for. Yes, they're out and about doing this every year, but it's just not very exciting. And maybe that's the problem. Maybe I'm part of the problem, because I'm like, oh, it's not very exciting. And they're like, oh yeah, we'll go buy the bigger scale ones. It's like, well, I don't want the bigger scale ones. And like, I don't want to pay 20 to 25 wing wangs for like a stormtrooper because it's part of the Black Series. And that always bothered me, because it was like they're pitching it as this premier thing, and you get them and they're good, but they're not like super like ultra things. They're just what this was, but bigger. Because like back in my day, back in '05, when Revenge of the Sith came out, I'm not a Star Wars historian, so I don't know if this was line wide or whatever, but I remember getting a lot of clone dudes like this, who just, had knees and had elbows. In the time frame between the prequels and the sequels, that people have lost their knees and legs, apparently, their knees and elbows. Because like clone dudes, they have their like clone, they've got their clone elbow, they've got their clone shoulder, so they can do that. They've got clone knees, and admittedly their wee thigh gets caught, but these are all very, it doesn't need saying, these are more emotive than these lads. I feel like I probably get shouted at for using him because he's like a pilot guy, so he's only meant to sit down, but I've got like the deadly black dark troopers, who have a really cool look. The toy's a wee bit lanky. I don't know if that's accurate, to be honest. It probably is, but it comes off as a wee bit lanky in hand. And then when you're trying to do stuff, all I can really do is, that. And it's a shame, because they put all the effort in, and The sculpt is lovely, what you can see of it in this light. But he's boring. He's very, very boring. And I don't want this to be a whingy video or whatever. I'm just kind of trying to get across my feelings every year because like, Christmas comes up, or I forget when they drop them, but like you see them drop, and it's my gut reaction is like, I just don't want to pay like £10 for a Luke Skywalker who will basically just stand there. You're buying an ornament, like that's something I just never want to get into. I'm not going to buy statues. Like I know I'm a massive hypocrite as a wargamer, and it's like a fan of 40k and stuff, where I'm just buying statues. But there's more involved there because you build the statue yourself. But yes, just do good. Just take the opportunity to change, basically, because I'm almost 100,000% certain that the Solo toys just didn't get a wide release in Scotland. No supermarket I went to, no toy shop that I went to. Bloody Smiths didn't have them. Maybe it was a problem with the Central Belt, but like that's what most of Scotland is. Like, I just didn't see the Solo toys. It was like they had given up, and that was kind of like a Solo's so bad that they're not even distributing their toys, and it's like, like I've not got any time for that kind of argument. But at the same time, where's your toys, Star Wars? The other day, I was in TK Maxx and they had the Solo toys, like just recently, just this week, it come out, and they were like £5 for like a Chewie who had shoulders and thigh. Like I'm not going to pay that money. Like when it comes down, when they turn up in Poundland for like £2, maybe I'll get them. Maybe if there's like a cool stormtrooper, maybe if they have the range trooper, whatever it was called. But like it shouldn't have to get to the point where it's like, maybe I'll do it for £2. Like the ideal optimum thing would be like, you put out a new Star Wars film, there's a cool new stormtrooper, I'll totally drop a tenner to get a wee stormtrooper dude who I can like emote about and do things. Just give him elbows and knees. That's really all I'm asking for. Like the shoulder thing, I'll take or leave that. Like I would ideally like it, but I know budget is the other problem. It's like a trifecta of like the Black Series exists, oil prices is a thing. I know, like that was like 2012. I know 2012 happened, and like toys got worse, but that was long time ago. That was long time ago. Like just get over it. Like is this whole kind of horrible world thing where like everything's only going to get worse because a thing happened. Yes, a thing happened, but that happened years ago. Get over yourself. Stop selling worse things for the same money. And like I'm sure it's part of the business plan of like we put out the mass market Star Wars thing. It sells whatever it sells because like kids will buy it. Like they'll be going through a supermarket and be like, "Yo, get me a stormtrooper," because that's what kids sound like. And then when the phase rolls out, they'll just roll it into like discount shops. You get it in your Poundlands, I don't know what it's called in America. I don't know what the discount places are. Best Buy? No, Best Buy is that an electrical thing? Don't know American things. But I know that's probably part of the plan, but come on. My first prequel to I should probably do a bit of history. The first Star Wars toy I got was Bumface. I don't know what his actual name is. Is his actual name Bumface? My family got me Bumface for Christmas one year. It must have been very, very early on. I remember getting him and loving him, and then immediately losing his gun, which I feel like is a ritual. I think that's something you have to do with toys. You immediately have to lose their gun. I regret losing his gun because Bumface was not the most entertaining of toys. He was like this. He'd only had his little, not much articulation, but he was an interesting alien. He had a kicking jacket. It's like bright orange. Like I want to, people. If you can source me a Bumface, send me a Bumface because damn, he was a good guy. I imagine, is there a Black Series of Bumface? I imagine he comes with like his cut off arm to like switch in and out. I feel like I'm losing steam. The other thing is the thing that drives me, the thing that keeps me awake at night and burns in my heart is that there was a comic. It was Ultimate Fantastic Four, and it was written by Mark Millar, who's pretty terrible. Honestly, he's not great. I'm going to say. I say that as like a Morrisonite. Like I'm a big Grant Morrison fan. But in Mark Millar's Ultimate Fantastic Four, there was a scene where Reed Richards um, was doing the marketing. Like there was like a toy company, and they'd like made some Fantastic Four toys, and they'd come up to him, and they were like, "Oh, here's the new toy. Can you like okay it for like mass market or whatever?" And Reed was like, "No, do it again because it's too well articulated." And like kids today don't want like articulation; they want like more limited. And like I feel like that was Mark Millar's like jab at like super articulated toys in 2000 and whenever, let's say 2006. And like it should be like his day when like Star Wars toys were only 4 points of articulation. That's what real toys are, and that hurt me at the time. It was such an out of touch your da moment. Like people don't want articulation in their toys that he made into a comic, like an iconic piece of like everlasting immortal art. That his horrible opinion about toys. Like, do you buy toys, Mark Millar? If you buy toys, is this what you're into? Because this is vanilla AF, son. Go out and get like any kind of toy, anything that's not this. I mean, you're gonna get it anyway, so get something else as well. Treat yourself, Mark. You've got the dollar. But that burnt me up inside for decades, and I just don't want that to be the world I live in. I don't want this to be the standard, and that's the other thing. This is the standard, and that's fine. That's fine that it's the standard. I'm not against that, but like, just do this. I know we live in the terrible future where things are terrible, but like we live in the future where things are better. So make things better. Yes, the oil price is terrible. Maybe still, I don't think it is. Hasbro, is it Hasbro that does the Star Wars? I honestly don't care that much to have known that. It is, isn't it? Yeah, it's Hasbro. But just do the thing. Just do the thing. Like it's you have all the money. You have all the Star Wars money. You have all the Disney money. You can do elbows on Wii figures. And I know people don't want the little ones anymore, but maybe try. The other thing is, the whole kicker, the thing that kind of spurred this video on was that they kind of still do these, but they're not the mass market thing. They are and they aren't, because I went into Smith's, and Smith's have like loads of clone dudes. They have like a clone dude that is like Doctor Doom, and I kind of really want to buy him. And they have the same articulation. I don't know when those figures are from, but they seem vaguely recent. So it's like a thing where like this is like the supermarket thing, but also the toy shop thing, also the kind of Toys R Us Smith's level thing, and then occasionally you'll get something like this. So they can do it. It is a thing. They just choose not to, probably because of like iconic 77 reasons. And like, just stop it now. Course correct. You like, okay, right? Here's the thing. You can do it for episode 9. I will grimace when I see the episode 9 toys and they don't have any articulation, or they have limited articulation like these guys. I'll be like, that's a shame. I won't get like ripped Kylo or whatever they put out for it. They should do a ripped Kylo if they haven't already. Like wide Kylo, but in this, because like this has like, to be positive, it has its like kind of its upside, because if you do dumb things in this scale, or in this kind of format, I should say format. If you do dumb things in this format, I'm more likely to buy them. So I probably would buy a ripped Kylo like this. It's just the combination of like boring stuff with boring articulation. Do memes, basically. Do memes as figures. Funko Pop's doing that, and they run the world. But I'll give you that. As the lowly kind of unpowerful speck of a life form that I are, I will allow you, Hasbro, Disney, Lucasfilm. Is Lucas? I don't know. Just do the episode 9 figures. You've had your trilogy then. You've had your trilogy and your other films. Your in-betweenies. And then after that, after episode 9, whatever you choose to do, the Kenobi film that everyone apparently wants, maybe go back to this. Because I probably want to add my voice to the choir here. I don't want this. Even though in '97 I had this isn't really what Star Wars figures are to me. I know your man in the street, your dad, if you will. I know your dad is super into limited, if he even thinks about it at all, which he probably doesn't. As a millennial, I think I'm a millennial. As a millennial, I think of Star Wars figures as having about this amount of articulation. And like I said at the start of this video, I think the prequels are pretty good. I enjoy a prequel meme or two. I think about General Grievous quite a lot. And I know you probably think about this as well. It's good for me to like address Hasbro. It gives me like a talking thing. It's probably weird because you're watching this and you're not Hasbro, but if you are Hasbro, which you're not, do prequely stuff. I'm just gonna say day prequely things. Like that's kind of been a little bit of the problem with your new films because you're going for the like OG trilogy vibe, and a lot of the young people, like all of the young people that are out there making the vocal memes, making the noise on the internet and enjoying things, they grew up on the prequels, and they're kind of not good films, but they're what they grew up on, and they're what they know, and they're what they perceive Star Wars to be. So maybe it's hard to say go and make the new Disney films like the prequels. I don't really mean that. I just mean take the the energy. It's hard to say energy around those films because they're so not energy, but the energy of the CGI bits of the prequels, because you know all the battles, the space flight, and that, and then apply that to your films, because and especially your toys, because that's what this video is about. Apply the energy of the Star Wars prequels going forward to your product. It's such a dumb sentence, and I know you'll take issue with it, but my little microcosm of what I mean is that in the new films, the Star Wars, the lightsaber fights are very slow, heavy, kind of meaningful engagements. I mean, I've only seen Last Jedi once. I feel like that's what the Kylo Luke duel was kind of like. Basically, I mean, make it a big dumb prequels lightsaber fight because that's what everybody wants. I know that's what you don't think they want, but that's what they want. They want that hour-long Obi-Wan Anakin fight where they're just flailing lightsabers about, spinning them against each other. It's dumb. Yes, it is, and it's not at all the original trilogy, but that's where we're at. And I know it's probably like a trap you're in, because when you start doing that, people will be like, this isn't like the Disney films, because it's like you can't win Disney Star Wars. It's weird that you can't win. It's weird that you, the biggest franchise in the world, can't win. But here we are. You've somehow fallen into a trap between multiple generations where you just can't please them. I mean, I don't hate these. I literally bought these. I got this from like a charity shop. I think I got this one from a charity shop for like 20p. 20p, he's worth it for 20p, absolutely. Like I say, he's from Youth. I wanted to have like wee Cody. I had like a Cody Trooper, wee orange and white guy. He's lovely, but I couldn't find him. And then the thumbnail boy, kind of standard bearer for this video, is this guy. I don't know what his droid number is. I'm bad with numbers and letters. But as you can see from his sculpt, he looks like an Evangelion robot, doesn't he? He's lanky and thin, tall and skeletal, and you know, I wanted to get him. And then I saw that the Rogue One figures had the same articulation as the Force Awakens ones, and I was like, probably won't drop a tenner on them, and then probably won't drop £20 to £25 on the Black Series figure. But then, many years later, Poundland just had them, and I was like, all right. They come with these dumb weapons that are dumb. He has like this grappling hook thing. I kind of like it because like you get this like skeletal, cool looking mold, this like this sculpt, which is pretty hot. Like he's cool, and then you're like, you know what he needs? He needs like a big, dumb, huge box like hanging off him. I'm kind of into it, to be honest. He looks like a kind of super robot that's gotten like an extra bit added onto him. So there's a lot of imagination play with these guys is another plus, I would say. And I'm sure all of the weapons don't work out well with all of the figures as well as this guy's has. Look, he's like stick limbs, and they decided to give him this huge box. It's a weird thing, and this is toyetic as all heck, but I bet it's not what Star Wars fans want, and you're still doing it. So there's such a juggernaut that they can just plow through into whatever happens. I feel like there's a lot of talk. This is the dark part of the video. So if you've gotten this far, congrats to you. But there's a lot of talk about how people aren't buying Star Wars toys as much, and how they aren't. It's because of the characters, because of like Rose and stuff. To that, I would say it's probably character selection necessarily, and the kind of character designs themselves. Because they're probably not buying the Rose toy because it's Rose. They're probably just not buying the Rose toy because it's a boring toy. Because it's just a toy of a human, and she might have like a stun stick. It's just a person in a jumpsuit. Like it's boring. And even then, there was what's it called, Captain something or Colonel or Officer? There's like a space cat police Ronin thing from The Force Awakens that I feel is a bigger shelf warmer than Rose, because like I Rose shelf warmed like heck. But what is his name? I really want to buy like build. Can you send me all of the Star Wars fans? You'll know who he is. The shelf warmer from Force Awakens. He was like a guy on the junk planet at the start, and I don't know if he was in the film at all. See, that's kind of the problem, because the Star Wars traditionally makes billions of figures, and it's like their whole universe, and you can build up, you can buy all of them, do little dioramas, I guess. You can have loads of stuff on the go at the same time, and they're famous for doing loads of obscure stuff. The problem kind of comes in there where it's like you see Star Wars figures on the shelf, and you're like, who's that guy? And the general public probably doesn't know who that guy is at all and has any reason to buy him. They'll just like, he's a Finn, he's a Poe, maybe. Poe's very boring as well. Poe's just like a human. That's kind of the problem. Do funner character designs for your films. Do funner, because in your Star Wars, you can do big alien guys, you can do robots. It's kind of boring when like the rebels are always boring. They're always kind of filthy, just humans. Humans are the worst, and then that leads into the Empire getting all the love and getting billions of stormtroopers. And at a certain point, you're gonna have your mums pushing the trolley, being like, "No, little Billy, you're no getting in 12th stormtrooper. You already have 12th stormtrooper." And little Billy knows that it's like a special, super, ultra, mega death trooper, but the mum's adamant that he's not getting it because it's just a stormtrooper. So more variety. Not necessarily it's the WOMs that are ruining the toys. It's just that the Rose toy is deeply boring and very much linked. What is that? I wish I knew that guy's name. The Force Awakens, he's like a cat Ronin. Like, he sounds great. Like, I'm describing him to you. He's like a cat Ronin, because he's got like a Ronin-y hat, like a hat thing, and a wee spear stick. And he's like an officer of some kind. I want to say he's like a junk policeman. But if you've seen The Force Awakens, you'd be like, who? He might have like a reaction shot. He might like walk past Rey at one point and go like, "Roar," as Star Wars aliens tend to do. But you probably don't know who he is. But I saw him billions and billions. Every B&M in the land, every TK Maxx, every... there was a time where I could have got him for £1, and I probably should have. But like I say, fans, army of folk, send me them so I can build a house out of them. Brexit's a coming. Like, we're going to have to build our shelters somehow. And I recommend building our houses out of that one shelf warmer, because he's in abundance. Like, there's just an abundance of him out there. And I know that's like a traditional problem that Star Wars has had for a while, because there's that landfill that has hundreds of Return of the Jedi looks. But come on, those guys. Also, release your solo films. Release your solo film toys in shops. If anybody knows why that wasn't that wide a release, let me know, because that feels like a controversy. Because, like, how does Star Wars not put all of its toys out all of the time? How does it take TK Maxx like over a year to get like solo toys? I thought Solo was fine, by the way. Controversial Star Wars opinions. The prequels are fine. Solo was all right. I liked it quite a bit. To be fair, I've only seen those films at least, or at most once each. I might have seen Force Awakens twice now, and I liked Rogue One a lot more on the rewatch, actually, to be honest. Thought it was pretty good. It's not a good story, but it's like a good kind of mood piece. It's like here's the original trilogy's aesthetic, but done with today's budgets and CGI, and I thought it was done quite well. But yes, I probably rambled off topic, and it has been like half an hour. I like Star Wars. I definitely do. I definitely like Star Wars. Star Wars is good. I'm looking forward to Episode 9. I have no idea what they're going to do. I thought there was some choices made in The Last Jedi that you can agree or disagree with, but the fact remains I have no idea what they're going to do. In a bad way, I would say, because you can probably their intention there was probably to be like, oh, what's going to happen next? You just don't know what's going to happen. And it's like, but I also don't care because there's nothing for me to care about. There's no kind of nothing to resolve really now. It's just going to be Kylo, Emperor Kylo. Are we going to talk him down? Is he going to get on the team? Leave your thoughts in the comments. But I like, comment, and subscribe. We've got a Patreon. It should be linked somewhere. Jazz hands. I've had a lot of fun. I've had a lot of fun. I'm going to stop the video now. I'm getting better at knowing when